a minute, people. Everybody take a breath. This lockout is no big deal. Come on. We got lots of time until we get to spring training. This is a dead time. The only thing this means is that everybody can't gather at the winter meetings and get the free food and the free cocktails. We got plenty of time to get here, and everybody knew this was coming. So why seriously should anybody be that upset? I just don't see I don't see this becoming another one of those moments where, holy crap, in the morning, baseball's going to die, which we hear every couple of years and never happens.
Yeah, but by the same token, Ed, this is a sport that really can't, whether it's fact or fiction, whether this is going to be a prolonged deal. Baseball really isn't in a position of strength to be throwing darts, self-inflicted wounds, if you will. We had to sit doing the research. I believe, understandably so, because of COVID. I think attendance was down about 30-something%, but more to a point that I would find a little bit more than a little bit concerning to the powers that be in MLB is that the TV numbers are down about 12%. So that means that people are staying home more, yet not watching baseball. And a secondary point here in that how the optics are just horrible is that they spent about I think it was 1.4, 1.7 billion dollars on contracts, on player contracts, on free agents right before the lockdown. So the optics are horrible here, Ed, whether the reality, like you said, whether they work it out or not, and Lord knows. But this is Hatfields and McCoys, and it's hard for me to root for either side.
Well, this comes down to money, too. And I'm looking at this right now. In Forbes magazine, they were talking about financials, and that's what everybody looks at. Liberty Media owns a piece of the Atlanta Braves. I think they own the Atlanta Braves, actually, in many ways, a percentage of it. And Liberty Media has to put out all their earnings. It's available for people to look at. For the third quarter of 2020, the Braves had revenues of $110 million with an operating loss of $16 million. For quarter 3, 2021, revenues were up $234 million with operating income of $30 million, an increase of 288% year over year. They're making a spitload of money here, George. I mean, so locking the players out, they can afford it at this point. There's no death knell here that I see.
Yeah, but there's two greedy sides, and that's the problem. There's so much money, maybe they do commit suicide. Because will they come to terms? I don't know. But that's the point. There's so much money, everybody gets big eyes, and I think we're in for a bigger fist fight than you might imagine.
Can you tell me in one sentence what the lockout is about?
Money.
The
right,
share of money.
Okay, you can say that, but from a public relations standpoint, the owners have not done a very good job at defending their position. You can't say in one sentence, all right, look, here's why we're doing this, because this isn't right. The players, when free agency was an issue or when they went on strike for different things, they did, whether they were right or wrong, they did a real good job of public relations, of setting the tone of here's why we're out. Right now, there's probably not a single baseball fan who can tell you, first of all, like Ed, like you said, it's the off season. Nobody really cares.
Nobody cares.
But I mean, can any routine baseball fan, of which George said the numbers are dwindling, tell you easily what the lockout is about? No. And so if the owners expect anybody to kind of look at this thing and go, they're right, they need to do a much better job of getting their message out.
Well, it would seem at this point that the players' union is actually getting a decent message out here because they're saying, look, the teams are being rebuilt constantly. You're blowing out the young talent. You're not giving them a chance to make their money. You're also not giving us a chance to get any sort of tenure that we can get here in order to have an increase in salary and be able to make a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more, and they want more free agency. But when you look at it, and I'm going to go to your point as far as the ownerships are concerned, owners consistently in baseball are crying poverty. We're running out of money. Bullshit. You got tons of money. And Major League Baseball owners have done the worst job of running a professional sports franchise of any one of the big four, the big five. So for going to your point, as far as PR is concerned, the owners can't cry poverty anymore. It's too difficult, I think, at this point to explain to the casual fan. Casual fan just wants the games, that's all. And the players want to make money, that's all.
Yeah. And the players have some good points. I mean, they want to de-incentivize tanking. That makes sense. I think fans would go along with that. And
how do you do that?
That's a good question, but that's obviously not good for the sport to have, just say, hey, we're going to call it a day and lose. I mean,
Yeah.
who signs up for that?
Yeah, and another part of it is essentially the players want the baseball version or closer to the transfer portal. They want
Yeah.
less control by the teams over these players. I know it's an art form here in Tampa with the Tampa Bay Rays, their ability to keep players under their control as long as they possibly can, and then divest when the big contract time comes up. They are absolute artists at that, at identifying young players and keeping them in the minors to a certain point and limiting their ability to to expand their income
Well, see, that's the point right here. And I remember in the conversations I had with Marvin Miller over the years, that's pretty much what he always walked down to: is the players need to be able to make as much money as they can in as short a period as they can, just like any other business.
Right.
And they can't do that right now.
No, they can't. And that they're seeking greater control over their destiny, over their financial destiny, and right now the owners and the franchises have the ability to control a lot of that. They just want more of it. They want more shares of the pie, and they want the ability, if you get called up to the major leagues and you have 2 or 3 good years, to maximize that income instead of being under control of a team for as long as you are now. So, and these are things, again, you're right. The fans just want to see the games. They're not going to care until March, until spring training is supposed to start, and it doesn't. That's when they'll start to care. But and at some point, it is Hatfields and McCoys, but somebody's going to break, and it's probably going to be the players, because these guys are going to need to get paid, the lower level guys. So that's when the rubber hits the road, I think, and that, who knows when that'll be. Probably not long after March, to be honest.
Probably April 1st.
Yeah.
Right in there when they well, no, we have to look down, and I don't know what this date is, but we got to find out when the first paycheck is due in 2022.
Right.
And
based on this discussion, you'd think that the players were on strike versus being locked out.
Yeah.
Based on the arguments that have been presented here in the last 5 minutes. Nobody has said, well, the owners, blah, 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 because the owners have not gotten their message out as to why they've even locked the players out.
Well, the thing that always gets me about this is players want, look, the players want what we all want. They want a good job. They want some security. They want to make as much money as possible. They want to live in a nice place. They want to make as much money as possible. They want to have a nice car. They want to make as much money as possible. I think I'm getting into a rut here, but I think that's what they want. And they should be able to do that. The point of it is the owners are making spit loads of money. These are their athletes. The NBA has done it very well. And the players say, I should be able to leave after 4 years. And by the way, if I'm playing for the Detroit Tigers and you have a farm system that I can see and my agent can see and everybody can see is absolute junk, I'm making this up as I go along, why would I want to stay here? Because I also want to win a championship, because that's going to be more money for me. That's going to be more stature. I actually got into this game because I want to win a World Series. And if you're not going to give me the chance, I'm out of here. Does this not come down to the fact that Major League Baseball owners are still terrible stewards of the game and their own franchises?
Yeah, well, this is kind of the case. I mean, when we were talking earlier about, Shad Khan, and did he make obviously what seems to be a bad choice with Meyer. Sometimes these guys make horrible decisions in terms of leadership and in terms of business decisions. They can have a very good business acumen in other ways, but not in the baseball sense or in the sports sense.
In the sports sense, absolutely. So I realize that this is a discussion to have, and everybody's gone a little bit crazy about this, but should we really care that there's a lockout in baseball right now? I don't think so.
Not now. Our attention span will, for the most part, the American sporting public is, it's just background music right now.